Okay, sorry. Hi and welcome to the pdf2Data webinar. pdf2Data is a product to extract data on a rule-based system from PDF documents. With me today is Boris Dubrov from Dualab, and I am Michael Demey from iText Software. iText 7 is the successor of iText 5. iText 5 was a very mature and wildly successful PDF library for Java and .NET. But with iText 5 we reached a ceiling for development and maintainability. It was very hard to extend certain features of iText to support, for instance, new font and script systems. So iText 7 is the successor of iText 5. It's highly extensible and highly maintainable. When developing iText 7, we kept an add-on structure in mind so that we can build applications on top of iText 7. These provide functionality not available in iText 7, and they make use of the full use of the iText 7 API. This is to say that there is no plugin system that limits the API, so everything that is possible with iText is possible in an add-on. Initially, we provided several add-ons. You'll see here an abstract representation of the add-ons as they are at this moment. We've got a few add-ons that are provided by us. The blue ones are add-ons. So you've got PDF Calligraph, PDF HTML, etc. One of the more interesting ones is PDF Calligraph, for instance. That allows us to support Eastern languages like Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, the Indian languages, because that script system is very intricate and very difficult to deal with. The green one, pdf2Data, is a very special one. It's our first add-on in the concept of an iText 7 platform, and it's provided to us by Dualab. Could you go to the next slide? So for the iText 7 platform, we had in mind that we would allow external developers and companies to develop their own add-ons. They would provide generic functionality on top of iText, and we would distribute them through our own channels and our own quality control. And this would allow you to reach a bigger audience using our channels, our code base. The licensing is up to you, to the developer. There's no need to make it open source as iText is. There is no need, if you make it open source, to make it a compatible license. And for instance, Dualab made their own pdf2Data closed source. I will now give the floor to Boris to talk about pdf2Data.
Thank you, Michael. Well, you see the first slide, the name pdf2Data technical description. That's the beginning of my part. I'll be speaking about what is pdf2Data, and hope everything will work smooth. I'll give you a demo of a product. But first, a very short history. So Dualab is a software development company. We are well experienced with iText 7 platform, and have been doing some in-house research on data recognition inside PDF documents, which resulted in this software. We are very happy that we were able to reach a partnership with iText where this software becomes an iText add-on and is distributed along with the core iText library. As just mentioned, this is a pilot project for iText 7 platform and also a first of, I hope, many plugins of similar kind in the future. Indeed, again, referring to Michael, we decided that we are not going to open the source code for this add-on, mainly because there are a few algorithms and we would like to keep closed, and we are not going to open the intellectual property for this. Well, now going to the major use case for the product, what it is aimed for. It is the main goal of this product is to allow users an easy way to extract various chunks of data from highly structured documents. By highly structured documents, I mean the typical financial documents as invoices, for example, purchase orders, all kinds of internal reports where the template is basically the same, but the data may change, and also the exact position of the data of text on the page also may vary. So it's what you would normally see when you use some dynamic template generation software. And the idea is that a user will be able to extract all chunks of information required, such as, for example, invoice number, customer number, date, whatsoever, if you speak about invoices. Normally, we don't assume that these documents have any kind of so-called tagged structure, so they don't need to be structured PDF documents, but they still are PDF documents. We rely and fully utilize the iText 7 platform to access the internals of PDF documents. But what happens next is a number of complex analysis and heuristic analysis algorithms that would allow us to speed up the data extraction. Again, we assume that this product will be used as a backend server solution for various workflow systems, internal CRMs, for example. So it comes with an API to automate everything as you wish. And the workflow we have in mind is that the user creates a template, or just uploads a template to an application I'll show you very soon, defines what we call rules, how this data needs to be extracted, and then tests and tests the extraction algorithm on a single document or several documents before actually deploying everything to the server and then running in a fully automated way. So in the end, as I say, this is a fully automatable server-side solution for data extraction. We do ask for human intervention only once per each template for marking or selecting the required data on a single template document. We provide a web application which is deployed now on one of the Amazon clouds, but also is available for installation on your. We look for high fidelity recognition. High fidelity means that we really assume that if used properly, the tool would be able to recognize 99% of the documents, leaving probably 1% for manual intervention or manual analysis. This high fidelity recognition, we all understand that, well, PDF documents, especially in unstructured, cannot be recognized fully automatically with such high fidelity without initial deterministic initial rules, what we call deterministic rules. These rules, I'll speak about them in more detail in the future, may specify some font styles, text patterns, but also the algorithm tests tables automatically and picks up certain cells, columns, rows from these tables. Of course, the user may filter out certain positions on the page, but that's not mandatory. We don't require the text to be absolutely on the same position on the page in order to find the data. And as I mentioned, at the moment this is a Java API, pure Java implementation with a command line and REST interfaces. and in the future you plan to migrate to .NET platform as well. So this is a very typical use case we have in mind. This is a sample screenshot of an invoice, and what you see here is a screenshot of our web application that helps users to mark the data. In this particular example, and I'll show you live demo with this document very soon, the user wants to extract the invoice address, the customer address, as well as basic invoice information. So he or she has to mark this data to tell the system that these are chunks of information he wants probably in the future to integrate to their CRM system. That's all company specific. To define these templates, to define the rules, we provide a neat, very, well, as we think, very user-friendly web interface. It is important that as soon as the data is they are kept inside the PDF document itself, so no database, no dependency on the availability of any web applications required when it comes to server processing. So all the data is accumulated inside a single PDF template. I mentioned this already. So just to repeat the workflow, so the user would go to the web application, upload a template, define the data fields in a single sample document, then check how it works in several examples, and then use the automatic parts, so library or command line application or REST API to extract the data in XML format. Optionally as an annotated PDF that shows how this data is actually recognized. The rules, as we call them, contain quite a number of interesting features you may specify for the system to make the extraction process as reliable as possible. I mentioned already, like font styles, location on the page, so that only the text that lies in a specific area on the page is selected. Text patterns, so you can specify a prefix and the suffix of a text. You can say that you're interested in a paragraph with a specific header. You may want to choose like an amount, VAT number if it comes to European system, some other very standard financial predefined fields. And last but not least, so table rules. If your document contains certain tabular layouts, which is very typical for this kind of documents, the system would employ several really very advanced algorithms to build the table structure and recognize everything automatically for you. So you don't need to specify very precisely the location on the page or some other text patterns around your data. This is a screenshot of a web editor, and again I'll show you this web editor in a second. So mainly it shows you your template on the right hand side. It's just your original PDF template, plus provides a left hand side panel to specify the fields you would want to extract. Then when you test your documents against the template, it provides you what data was extracted and recognized. At this moment, you may provide the feedback. If you don't like how the system works, you can always mark some fields as incorrectly recognized and send us a message. Be sure that we'll come back to you if you want this, and provide extra assistance if needed, or maybe you can report issues or bug reports this way. When it comes for further integration, it's really a 3-line Java code which says that you would want to use a certain template for recognition. You want to recognize a PDF document against this template, and you would want to, for example, save the result as an XML document, or if you want, you can analyze this result in code, in Java code directly, and directly send it further on in your workflow system. Again, when it comes to non-Java workflows, non-Java applications, you have a command line application that essentially does all this in one execution line. So you provide a template, you provide a PDF document to be recognized, and you end up with an XML result with all your fields recognized. So it's probably much better to see this on examples. So now, feel free to ask questions if there are any at this moment. I'm reading the messages stream. So this is a demo application we deployed at the address pdf2Data.online. As I say, this is an application you get also together with the library, so that you would be able to deploy it locally on your server. It also comes with some customization mechanism, so you can adjust the styling to make it look like your corporate style application. But the main purpose of this application is to define the templates or to fields you would want to extract from the PDF documents, to define the rules. So yeah, I've got already a template downloaded here already, but suppose I have just a single document, and this is a demo invoice template I've got on my machine. You upload it to the application and move to the screen where you are able to specify the data fields. So it's just a clean PDF document now, which you would probably normally get out of your suppliers or some other partners. And by looking at this document, you imagine that you are a person who is manually analyzing this document to enter further data into your system. So you're saying that, well, I need a few chunks of data here. You're probably not interested in the logo itself, but interested in this end user address and voice address and some other specific data in this document. And you just mark it, so you draw rectangles around the data you are interested in. For example, I'm interested in user address here. You give a name to this field, for example, user address. Then you have to say how you would want this data to be extracted. Well, for example, you can say, well, I just need the data exactly in this rectangle. Then you say that I want to respect all the boundaries here. And you click save, and the system shows you what you end up with. So you end up with a few lines here. Not exactly what you want. First of all, the data is not combined into a paragraph. So if you want this to be a paragraph, then I will say I want this to be a paragraph. Click save again. Now it's better. You get a paragraph, but then you get several more values extracted. Not clear where they come from, but if you skim the document further on, you see that this is a multi-page document, and this extra data comes from the second page. So at this moment, you might realize that you only want to extract the data out of the first page, and you want to say that I want to specify a page as well. Probably I want to specify a page first, so you move it to top and say I want to put all the data from page 1. Now click Save, and here's finally the result you would probably expect from the beginning. So yet this is probably not the best strategy to be restrict the selection to a very specific region on page. Let's see how it works on the examples. Suppose we've defined this field here. We can now go back and test this template. So this is basic information about the template. It contains a data field user address on page 1. And you can test it against a few more other invoices you probably have from a similar supplier. And I've got a few demo invoices here. So if I go to demo invoice 1, upload it, it shows me that, well, seems to be all fine. So it found exactly this address, Hogwarts 5 Diagon LA, and that seems to be the right thing to be extracted. At this moment, you can download this data as an XML format for further integration, or you can download more precise visual information, what exactly was extracted, and it shows you your test invoice with the annotation showing which region was detected and what text inside this region was found. Going back, let's try a different invoice. So let's try a second invoice here, and now you clearly see that because we restricted everything to a very specific region on the page, the data was cropped. So only a chunk of data was actually selected. So if you download the recognized PDF document, we'll see that the rectangle doesn't cover total address, just a chunk of the address. This is what typically happens if you start extracting the data based on only just the location information on your page. That's not a reliable way, and that's not how human beings behave. They try to detect visually what we see. And this means that probably the rules we defined for the document were not fully correct. I'm showing this just to demonstrate the process of trying or playing around the tool and trying to play with various tools. Of course, I knew how this has to be done in this particular case, and I'll show you immediately. Since we just get rid of everything, including page 1, so that was just wrong strategy here. So the best strategy is to say that we want to select a paragraph on the page which has this particular header line or title, paragraph name as we call it. So if you do this with just a single selection rule, you get absolutely the same result, and now it's fully stable because it doesn't actually, we don't specify that we want to honor any of the boundaries. So this red rectangle now is mainly for your visual information. It's not used at all during the extraction algorithm. And indeed, if you start testing the tool, testing our rules for the invoice that was problematic for us in the previous example, we see that now it works perfectly okay. So it extracts completely the address, all address here. That's how this address looks inside PDF document. That's just a chunk of your PDF document. And again, you can download the PDF document to verify now that the complete PDF, the complete user address detected and extracted correctly. So this is what is required, what we call a human intervention or human interaction, initial human interaction for a template. And of course, we provide a best practices guide to give you hints what would be the best ways to deal with our selection rules. And actually, the tool doesn't require a lot of learning. After experimenting probably half an hour, you'd be already a master with this tool. So just to proceed, we can create a few more things. So you want to have an invoice address here. I'm just showing you a few other examples. Might be useful here. Again, whenever you click a Save button, you see the result immediately here below. And in this particular case, we see that something is not right because the tool doesn't select. So it really doesn't see that the space is too large. So the space is quite big. So you can try other things here. Well, probably it would be indeed better in this particular example to go for a larger area and rely on a boundary or a font. Well, let's go for a boundary here indeed. And for boundary, and then as we've seen before, grouping this into, yeah, now it's good. So we can check this, how it all goes in our test documents. Yep, seems to be all fine, except that there's again something happening on page 2, so we have to go back and fix this thing to specify to limit the region to page 1 here. So these are things you might work out on the way. So other examples, you may specify a date. So whenever you have a date here, you may say that I want this date out of the document. Date. Again, you see that there are 2 dates found in the document, not surprising. So what happens now, the tool recognizes the format of the date inside the rectangle and tries to find all dates in the document using this date format. There is another date in the document, due date. So if you want to pick one of those, you can always add a so-called picker. So you want to use, and again, that's a first out of 2 dates. So these are typical things. You can have a VAT number recognized automatically. So VAT here, and yeah, it's extracted and recognized automatically. So these are typical things. Again, you have the definitions in the template. To give you an idea what template is, we can download the template. As I mentioned, this is exactly the PDF document containing all the information about the data fields to be extracted. Everything stored inside this single PDF document using the standard mechanism of PDF annotations. So these are the regions that we were working with in the web application. Now we see this in Adobe Acrobat. Actually, they are editable here, and there is an internal syntax used to define these fields. It's also documented open syntax. If you want, if you don't like for some particular reason this user web application, you can always use a standard Adobe Reader commenting tool to specify the fields and the rules in just special syntax. So this, for example, says that this is a field called user address, and the selector used to find it is paragraph, and this is a named paragraph, this is the name of the paragraph. So if you are more like a software developer kind of person and you want to type rules instead of drawing them and using web controls, you can always do this in just Adobe Reader and avoid the use of web application at all. So this is the template, and this is the only data you need further for in the automation workflow. So the automation workflow, as I mentioned, doesn't rely on any web applications or external databases. It just relies on this template, the data stored inside these annotations here. A few more examples showing what the tool is able to do. Probably I'll give you an example of how the automatic table recognition works. Going for a few more examples. This is a typical invoice. Again, a different layout. Now you see a lot of tabular structure around. So if you see tabular structure, you can always you try to using our automatic table recognition tool. For this, you just select a certain cell in the table and say, I would want to use a table in automatic mode. That is a date field. And you see perfectly that here is the result. If you look at how this is defined inside the template, you see that we use a selector table, which works in an automatic mode, and we recognized at this moment that you would want to have data from column 1, row 2, and the headers of this table are date and invoice, and this what we will try to find out in the document. So we'll try to find out first of all the table placed anywhere in your document with these headers, and then we'll pick up the data inside column 1, row 2 here. And again, it's always good to check if it works for other documents. I've got like hundreds of documents with this template, and indeed we see that the data was correctly recognized, and if you download the recognized document for manual intervention, we see exactly that the cell boundaries are marked green, which means that this is a cell we found here. A few more examples like this. Going back to the document, to the template, you can, for example, find the bill tool address, and again table automatic recognition mode works excellent here. So that's what we advise to use whenever it comes to tables. So invoice number, and again a table is just an excellent example of how those things work here. Now I'm probably showing you a few more advanced use cases. Well, one of them is that we are able to recognize many records for one field, which, like, I'm returning to the application. I closed it accidentally. So I'm returning to the template I had, like a clean one, sample template. And in this particular case, we've got many products here, many products. So we would probably want to extract all prices for these products at once. So for this, we can probably we can just specify that we want all prices in this region, and so it's unit price, and well, probably preserving left and right boundaries, but top is also good, but not bottom, because this list might grow further on. Maybe top is also not needed here. And what we want to extract in this like strip on the page would be a line which starts with a euro sign here. So we want to have a prefix euro and select all lines starting with euro. Euro is not very easy to type, so we would probably want to copy and paste it from the document. For this, you switch to text selection mode, pick up euro, paste it here, and see what we get. That's exactly what we wanted to have. We extracted 4 values as they appear in this table. This means that for a single rule, we are going to get multiple values, and in this case, it's always advisable to click here a checkbox, multiple results allowed. So you see there are 2 boxes here, 0 results allowed and multiple results allowed. This gives a hint to the system what is expected. In particular, if by default it expects that it will be able to find exactly a single record per field, and if it is not able to find this record, it will tell you warning or an error depending on your settings. In this particular case, we are expected to have more than 1 record, so that the system will not warn us if there are more than 1 record available. Again, well, yeah, so the system help us to be careful with what we do. We can try this on some other examples we've got. See how it works. So in this particular case, there's only a single record available. Yeah, so that's only a single line in the invoice. We can always test the template against itself, because, well, the template is just another PDF document, so it always should work. So that's an example of four values found here. And if we download XML, this thing will show all 4 records in a structured XML way. Yeah, so this is how this thing appears inside XML document. So you can process it easily if needed. So data is a data field with the name of unit price, and you get 4 textual values for this particular field. So again, this works multi-page. In particular, if you have a very long list of records, say 100-page long, it will still work and then extract all data from a long document. It also, so going back a few more, probably the last predefined example I've got. This is the example of a template fully featured with all the fields needed for the recognition of the invoice in question. So this is what we prepared. So you see this this comes already with predefined fields. As I said before, this is possible because all field definitions are stored right inside the PDF document. So you have here multiple fields actually. Here you have a drop down which says all fields here. Probably. It also demonstrates you a way to use more advanced tools to recognize tables if automatic recognition doesn't work. In particular, in this case, automatic recognition is not very reliable, no borderlines available, and it's quite difficult even for a human being to understand whether it's a table or just several aligned paragraphs. So in this particular case, there are many more options used for manual table recognition. So in particular, if you specify all table headers explicitly, then this will start working as expected. And in this particular case, the field which is extracted as a volume is actually a table, not a single field. So if we look for for this data, you see that what is extracted as a value is a complete table. So you might have table with many more cells and with many more rows and headers. And if you try to recognize this document or similar one, it will show you that there are a few tables here recognized. This is how it looks originally in PDF document, and these are the data extracted in a structured way. So again, if it comes to an XML, then it takes time for the system to make sure this is not a virus. So then, so that's what it wants us to open. Yeah, so it shows you actually a table with columns and rows as a value. So in particular, you can further process it as you wish, because after the recognition, it's simply just a table of data. So importing this to any other data structures is fairly easy. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop here before starting to explore even more complex rules you may have, just to give you probably a final look at the set of all selectors or rules you have here. So this is the current set of selectors. And it is growing constantly, so we are adding more and more interesting tools. Like at the moment we are working on adding image selection, so in case your images contain essential information for your business workflow, you'll be able to pick them up and use them further on in your workflow. So at the moment there are more than a dozen of such selectors. The list will probably grow and more, like a nicer navigation tool will be added here. But the principles will be unlikely to change here. So to sum up, so pdf2Data is is a Java library that it's an add-on to iText that works highly structured PDF documents. And as deliverables, so if you purchase the product, it comes as a Java library, sample code and documentation. It comes as a web application that can be deployed in your local network if you wish. and can be customized to match your corporate styles. It also comes with a CLI application in case your workload is not Java-based. And of course, it comes with documentation, including best practices guide and training videos, all recordings of these webinars as well. I'm stopping here and passing the control back to Michael for the final wrap-up. But of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
Okay, thank you, Boris. So to wrap up, the iText 7 platform allows you to develop your own add-ons using your own code built on top of iText 7. And we allow you to distribute these add-ons on our own channels. And pdf2Data, the first one of, let's say, the third-party add-ons, allows you to easily analyze and process unstructured PDFs in an automated way. Allows you to define templates to parse these documents and use a very easy API on the command line or as a REST interface. Thank you. If there's any questions, please, now is the time.